Being, to me, means seeing the greatness and the uniqueness in you and never letting anybody else convince you to the contrary. When people ask me, come on, you're always talking about being up and you're always positive and so on, you mean to tell me that you're always that way? I say, yeah, I really am. And it isn't because I'm out there doing something in an artificial way. It's an authentic response to my having gotten the junk out of me. And the junk is the way that I used to think, the way that I used to think. Think for a moment, if you can visualize right here, a clock, a big clock. And the hands on the clock go from 1 to 12. The clock starts right out here with the minute hand, and it goes over towards the 3, the hour hand, minute hand. And that's the time in your life when you are moving away from yourself, from your true self. That's the time when you are trying to put other people down, trying to prove that you're bigger and better than somebody else, trying to make yourself right all the time, as opposed to being with somebody else. It's like you're moving away, and a lot of people spend a lot of time moving away from their true self, because your true self is this little child, is this beautiful little child inside of you that has only love and acceptance for everything in the world, and no dis-ease, no absence of ease. You move away towards the 3, and then you move down here this way, and you're still moving away from yourself until you hit the 6. The 6 is the point in your life, symbolically, metaphorically here, when you are the furthest away from yourself that you can be. It's the low point in your life. It's the point where many people break down, or many people break down their relationships, or they feel full of despair, they feel full of hatred, whatever it may be. And a lot of people die then. A lot of people are put into hospitals then. A lot of people have to really seek out therapy then, and so on. And when you're at that 6. There's another part of the clock that goes from 6 to 12 that I think of as living in the light. And this is when, and see, this clock hand never can go back. It can't go back. It can only go this way. It only goes this way, as does life. It only goes this way, forward. In this period, this place between 6 and 12, that's when you start coming back to yourself. That's what enlightenment is. That's the pathway to enlightenment. When you send out that stuff that is destroying you, that is killing you in one way or another, and you move yourself back over here, and eventually you get yourself all the way back. This is the light over here. This is the place where you can't go back. You'd be tempted. You might be tempted to steal. You might be tempted to use anger. You might even slip a little bit, and you catch yourself. I can just not too long ago, there was we got a problem with our sprinkler in my home. One of the sprinkler heads is off, and if you ever seen that happen, you get a gusher going up there. And I've been wanting to get that thing replaced for the longest time. And I'm walking out of the bank, and there's a sprinkler head right there in front of the bank. Now, I practically own this bank, okay? So I'm going to go there every day, and I do a lot of business with this bank. And I'm looking at this sprinkler head, and I think, all I have to do is just unscrew this thing. It wasn't on or anything. They'll replace it tomorrow morning. It's 98 cents or whatever. So I actually get down there, and I start turning the sprinkler. And then I start thinking, do I want this karma? Do I want to steal? Do I want to take? I know it's only a 99, and if I went into the bank, they'd probably give me one anyway if I asked them. And then I just turned it back, and I said, if I want a sprinkler head, I'll go and buy one for myself. This doesn't belong to me. It was just like a split second of weakness there or whatever, but it illustrated to me that I can't go back there. I could never. And there was a time in my life when I could have done that. I can be absolutely frank with that. I could do that. I can't go back there anymore. That's where you start. That's the place to start. Because when you get all of that out, when that's all gone, and I mean gone, and it only comes about as a result of the way that you think, so it's just changing around your approach to life, the way that you think in life, when that starts to go away, what you've become filled up with is what your natural self is, which is this loving, accepting, not fighting the universe, but instead living in it and going with the flow and all of the kinds of cliches that you've heard 1,000 times. That's the metaphor there. And you see, every time you try to go back, you can't do it. You can't do it. There is a whisper within you
that existed before your name. Before the world taught you how to fear, how to shrink, how to ache, under the weight of comparison, there was a presence still, silent, and infinitely sure of itself. It did not question its worth. It did not ask for permission. It simply was. And that presence, that soul, is still you, untouched by the noise, untouched by the illusion of insufficiency. Doubt. Doubt. That ancient shadow. It comes cloaked in logic and fear, disguised as caution and dressed in reason. It sits beside you, not with malice, but with misunderstanding. Doubt is not your enemy. It is merely the signal that you have begun to wander away from who you truly are. It is the alarm that rings when you lean too far into the identity the world gave you and too far from the one your soul remembers. You see, doubt is not a truth. It never was. Doubt is a cloud, and you, dear soul, are the sky. A sky has no quarrel with clouds. It does not rage against them. It allows them to pass, knowing they are transient, while it remains infinite, unharmed whole. The same is true for you. You were not born with doubt. A newborn doesn't question whether its cry deserves to be heard, whether its needs are valid, whether it has the right to take up space. That kind of questioning is learned. That kind of questioning is handed down through systems, through wounded voices, through fearful eyes, but it is not native to your spirit. So what is doubt then? But a bell, a sacred bell reminding you to return home to truth, to remember. You are not your fear. You are not your mistakes. You are not your temporary thoughts. You are not your credentials. You are not your failures. You are not the voice in your head that trembles in the face of greatness. You are not that hesitation. You are the one observing it. And the observer is always free. The ego will try to convince you that doubt is your compass, that safety is found in questioning yourself, that humility means shrinking to fit into molds that comfort others. But this is not humility. That is fear masquerading as wisdom. True humility is not hiding your light. It is knowing your light is not your own. It belongs to something greater that chose to shine through you. You were chosen to be here, not by accident, not randomly. The infinite does not roll dice. The divine intelligence that beats your heart, that breathes through the trees, that sends waves to kiss the shore in perfect rhythm, placed you here on purpose. In this body, in this time, with these dreams. And doubt, though it may rise like a wave, has no power to unwrite that truth. Listen to me now, not with your ears, but with your essence. When doubt shows up, do not run. Do not shrink. Do not believe its voice without question. Instead, pause and go deeper. Ask it gently, what are you trying to protect me from? You'll find that beneath doubt is usually an old wound, the fear of rejection, of not being enough, of being seen and judged. But your spirit is not woundable. Only the ego bleeds in the battle of perception. The soul cannot be harmed. Doubt is a signal that the ego has taken the driver's seat. And in that moment, it is not truth that you are hearing, it is programming. It is the echo of someone else's fear, someone else's limitation, dressed up in your own voice. But don't condemn it. Don't fight it. Sit with it like a teacher, because all of life is teaching you how to return to love. Even your doubt is a doorway if you're willing to walk through it. You see, we've confused certainty with arrogance, and in doing so, we've handed our power to hesitation. But what if certainty isn't arrogance at all? What if it's reverence? What if being certain in your worth is not pride, but obedience to the truth that God placed inside you? What if refusing to shrink is not selfishness, but surrender? Surrender to the brilliance that wants to live through you. Every time you doubt yourself, you are not dishonoring your mind. You are dishonoring your source, because you were not created to tiptoe through life apologizing for your existence. You were sculpted in the image of something eternal, something that does not hesitate, something that does not tremble, something that does not forget itself. And yet, here you are doubting your calling, your art, your message, your beauty, your timing. But I'll tell you something, and you must let it pierce the noise. You do not need to be perfect to be purposeful. You do not need to be fearless to be faithful. You do not need to know everything to begin. Doubt says, wait until you're ready. But the soul says, you are already becoming. When a seed is buried in the darkness, it does not doubt the sun. It does not question whether it will reach the sky. It leans, it stretches, it opens, because it knows that growing pains are not proof of failure, but signs of life. So when your doubt feels heavy, remember this: growth often feels like uncertainty. But uncertainty is not absence of truth. It is the space where truth is waiting to be remembered. So begin. Begin even if your hands shake. Begin even if your voice trembles. Begin even if your knees are weak. Because motion clarifies. The soul doesn't need all the answers. It just needs your willingness to move. And what of failure? What of rejection? What if it doesn't work? Well, what if it does? What if the life you are imagining is not a fantasy, but a memory, a soul memory of what you were always meant to become? What if your longing is not a weakness, but a compass? What if your ache is not a sign of emptiness, but of calling? You've been told to be realistic, but realism is just a prison built by those who've forgotten how to dream. And you, my dear, are a dreamer. Not the shallow dreamer of escape, but the deep dreamer of awakening. The one who sees with the eyes of the soul and knows that this world is but a mirror of what is believed to be possible. So change the mirror, change the thought. Doubt is a reflection, not a decree. And you are the one holding the glass. Keep walking. The road to awakening is not paved with certainty, it is carved with trust. It is walked by those who feel the doubt and go anyway. By those who know that a feeling is not a command, that fear is not prophecy, that hesitation is not the same as halting your destiny. Every great soul felt doubt. Every enlightened being questioned the path, but they did not stop, and neither should you. Because there's someone watching you, someone who sees you as proof that it's possible, someone who is waiting to believe in themselves because you believed in you. And when you move through your doubt, you don't just free yourself, you free generations. You free hearts that you'll never even meet. And isn't that reason enough? So the next time doubt rises, smile gently at it. Say, thank you for the signal, but I remember the truth now. And keep going, because you are not here to live from fear. You are here to live from freedom. And doubt is just the smoke. You, my dear, are the fire. You, who stand at the edge of something new, something vast, something terrifying in its potential, do not mistake your racing heart for a stop sign. Do not confuse the flutter in your chest with the voice of truth. That flutter is simply your body remembering how much power lives in you. And power, when it is not claimed, will always feel like fear. But it's not fear you're feeling, it's awakening. It's expansion. It's the sacred stretch of your soul reaching beyond the boundaries your mind constructed to feel safe. Doubt is the tension between the self you have known and the self you are being invited to become. And every time you feel it rise, know that it is not asking you to retreat, it is asking you to rise. You were never meant to stay the same. Nature doesn't apologize for its blooming. The moon does not mourn its changing face. The ocean does not doubt its tide. So why do you doubt your becoming? Why do you hesitate when the winds of change are moving you? Why do you resist the very unfolding that life designed for your liberation? Because you were taught to worship certainty. You were taught to find comfort in sameness. You were taught that safety lives in the familiar. But here's what your soul knows. Safety is not found in predictability, it is found in presence. The more rooted you become in the now, the less you will need the illusion of control. Doubt feeds on the past and the future. It cannot survive in the sanctuary of this moment. It needs a mind racing with what ifs. But the soul breathes, I am. Breathe that in. I am, not I will be when, not I was before, but I am. That is the name of the divine. That is the mantra of the awakened. That is the power that moves through you even as you tremble. You see, your worth is not up for negotiation. It is not based on performance. It is not dependent on the opinions of others. It is not measured by likes or praise or outcome. Your worth is fixed, unshakable, eternal. Like the sun that keeps shining, even when clouds try to hide it, your value remains. No matter what voices rise against Itivan, your own. And the voices will rise. They will whisper, who are you to speak? Who are you to lead? Who are you to shine, to sing, to build, to believe? But you must learn to answer them not with force, not with aggression, but with truth. You answer with a quiet, unwavering knowing, I am a child of the infinite. I am a vessel of divine intelligence. I am here not to be small, but to be real, to be whole, to be light. Even the Buddha felt doubt under the Bodhi tree. Even Christ felt the weight of uncertainty in the garden. Even the saints and sages cried out in the darkness of their becoming, but they did not stop. They did not let doubt dictate their destiny, and neither must you. There will be days when the path ahead seems blurry. There will be moments when your old self begs you to turn back. But I promise you this, clarity lives on the other side of commitment. When you commit to the truth of who you are, when you commit to walking even when it's dark, the light will find you. You are being sculpted by the hands of the universe. And every moment of doubt is not a flaw, it is part of the chiseling, the cracking, the awakening, the refinement of who you were never meant to be, falling away so that who you truly are can emerge. Let it fall. Let the old ideas of who you had to be dissolve. Let the roles you wore to please the world slip off your shoulders. Let the mask of not enough melt in the fire of your truth. You are more than the doubt you carry. You are the awareness behind it. You are not the storm, you are the sky that holds it. You are not the ache, you are the breath that moves through it. You are not the noise, you are the silence underneath. And in that silence is peace. In that silence is the memory of who you were before the world taught you how to be afraid. Return to it. Return to yourself. Not the self shaped by survival, but the self born in stillness. Your soul did not come here to blend in. It came to break open, to burn away illusions, to dissolve falsehoods, to rise with every fall, to become a living testament that the truth is not something you find, it is something you remember. So when doubt comes again, and it will, don't run from it, don't fight it, don't treat it as an enemy. Welcome it like a wise friend who reminds you to choose to believe in something deeper, choose to trust the unfolding, choose to stand in the truth that even your doubt is part of the dance. It does not cancel your divinity, it does not undo your destiny. It only invites you to lean closer to your knowing. And your knowing, it's still there, waiting like a quiet flame beneath the surface, like a lighthouse in the fog, like a mother's voice calling you home. You don't have to wait until you're fearless to move forward. You only have to remember that fear is not the same as truth. Doubt is not a verdict, it is an invitation to pause, to breathe, to realign with the source that never doubted you. Not once, not ever. Would the divine create a soul unworthy of its own light? Would the infinite place you here without equipping you for the path? Would the same power that orbits the stars, paints the skies, and grows the forests ever leave you without purpose? No, you are here because you are needed. You are alive because something greater still wants to express through you. And though the mind may doubt, the spirit never does. It knows. It always knows. And so must you. Do not be surprised when doubt arrives dressed as logic. It wears the mask of reason, the language of caution, and the tone of someone trying to protect you. But be wise enough to recognize that not all protectors are aligned with your expansion. Some parts of you want safety more than freedom. Some thoughts would rather you stay in the cage, because the air outside, though fresh, is unfamiliar. But you must decide, will you live a life of comfort in limitation or courage in liberation? Every time you hesitate to speak your truth, to follow your vision, to take the next step, ask yourself, who is doubting? What voice is this? Is it the voice of the timeless, boundless self within me? Or is it the echo of past wounds, unhealed memories, and inherited fears? Trace it back, follow the thread. Doubt is never rooted in the know-it, is a ripple from what was or what might be. It cannot live in the breath you are taking right now, in this very moment, where nothing is missing. You've given doubt too much authority. You've let it sit at the table of your decisions. You've treated it like a wise elder when it is only a child afraid of the dark. But you are no longer that child. You are the light now. You are the calm presence that holds the fear without collapsing into it. You are the parent to your own mind. You are the keeper of your own soul. You must lead yourself home. When the world says, play small, your spirit says, rise up. When society screams, fit in, your essence whispers, stand out. When doubt pleads, wait until you're certain, the voice of truth, deep and ancient, smiles and says, begin now. Doubt thrives in delay. It feeds on pause. It grows in the gaps between your calling and your action. But action is the antidote. Move, even if your steps are unsure. Speak, even if your voice shakes. Show up. Not because you are unafraid, but because you are unwilling to be ruled by fear any longer. This is the path of the awakened. This is the way of the soul-led life. It is not absence of doubt, it is mastery over it. It is hearing the noise and choosing the silence. It is feeling the quake in your chest and walking forward anyway. It is allowing fear to ride in the car, but never ever letting it touch the wheel. Because your destiny is not built on the absence of resistance. It is forged in the fire of movement despite resistance. Every act of courage weakens the grip of doubt. Every time you honor your inner voice over the voices outside, you rewire your nervous system to trust the divine blueprint etched into your being. There is a compass in your chest. It doesn't point north, it points inward. It points toward alignment, resonance, truth. And when you follow it, even when it defies reason, even when others don't understand, you feel it, you feel alive. That feeling is your soul clapping. That feeling is God saying, yes, that's it. Keep going. You see, doubt is not a wall, it's a door. But it will not swing open unless you knock with your faith. You must lean into what scares you, not to prove something, but to remember something, that the light within you cannot be extinguished by uncertainty, that you were born with a fire the world cannot define, that there is something in you greater than every fear combined. The sages were not fearless, they were just practiced in silence. They heard the same noise, but they returned to stillness quicker. They didn't argue with their thoughts, they watched them drift by like clouds in a sky that cannot be stained. And you too can be that sky. You too can be that vast, that free, that anchored in the knowing that your thoughts are weather, not the landscape. Let it pass. Let it move. Let the doubts come and go, but do not give them names. Do not build temples to your hesitation. Do not make an identity out of your indecision. You are not your stuckness. You are not your spiral. You are not the delay. You are the witness. And the witness is always whole. Come back to wholeness. Come back to breath. Come back to this moment where nothing is broken, nothing is missing, nothing is wrong. Because right here in the stillness between heartbeats, you are safe, you are seen, you are chosen. You are enough not in some future version of yourself, not after you achieve or fix or earn something, but now, always now. And from that place of enoughness, you can act, you can give, You can speak, you can love, you can rise, not to prove anything, but to be who you already are. To express what the infinite is placed within you, to echo the song of your soul into a world starved of truth. You do not need to understand the entire path to take the next step. You do not need to silence every doubt to speak your message. You do not need to be fearless to be faithful. You just need to say yes, though, the now, to the call, to the truth that lives in your bones. And when doubt comes, as it will, greet it with grace. Greet it with gratitude. Say, thank you for reminding me where I still hesitate to trust. Thank you for showing me where I still think I am separate from source. Thank you for being the signal that points me back to my center. Because that's all it is, a signal. A signal that the ego is speaking louder than the soul. A signal that you are on the brink of something sacred. A signal that you are standing at the doorway of your next becoming. But the truth is not in the noise. The truth is in the stillness. The truth is in your breath. The truth is in your knowing. That cannot be touched by thought. And that truth, it will always wait for you. Patient, loving, undisturbed, like the sun waiting behind every storm, like love waiting beneath every fear, like God waiting behind every doubt. The voice of doubt is loud because it's trying to be believed. It shouts because it knows it is fragile. It trembles behind its volume. But the voice of truth does not shout. It whispers because it doesn't need to convince you. It only needs to remind you. And when you are quiet enough, still enough, surrendered enough, you hear it. In the pause between worries, in the breath between thoughts, in the silence beneath your striving, you hear the sacred reminder, I am. I am the breath. I am the awareness. I am the presence that is never afraid, never rushed, never doubting. I am that which watches the storm, but is not swept by it. You were never asked to be perfect, only present. You were never required to know everything, only to trust. You were never told to avoid the unknown, only to walk with it, hand in hand with faith. And this is where your true power lives, not in mastering every detail, not in controlling every outcome, but in remembering who walks with you, who breathes through you, who lives inside you. The divine is not outside, it is not elsewhere, it is not later, it is now. And now is where the miracle begins. Doubt is a veil, thin and trembling. When you stop feeding it with your energy, it falls. What remains is clarity. Not the clarity of perfect plans, but the clarity of presence. The clarity that says, I may not know where this path leads, but I know who I am as I walk it. You were created from certainty, not fear. You were formed in wholeness, not lack. The fabric of your being is stitched together with purpose. Your soul is older than your fear, so live like it. Speak with the weight of ancient knowing. Walk with the peace of those who remember eternity. Act not because you are certain, but because you are called. Because this world doesn't need more people hiding behind logic. It needs people daring to live from love. People bold enough to stand in their truth, even with shaking knees. People honest enough to say, yes, I doubt, but I will not let it define me. The world needs your light, not when it's perfect, but now. Not when it's certain, but now. Not when everyone approves, but now. Because your soul didn't come here to play a role. It came to shatter illusion. It came to heal the lineage. It came to anchor heaven into earth. You think your life is small? There is no such thing. Every moment of courage, every act of truth, every breath taken in alignment ripples into the collective field. What you overcome in silence is felt in the unseen. What you heal in private transforms humanity. You are not alone in this journey, not ever. You walk with ancestors who pray through your voice. You rise with future generations carried on your shoulders. You awaken not just for yourself, but for the world. So when doubt says, stay small, remember that your expansion is an act of service. When doubt says, don't speak, remember that your voice is medicine. When doubt says you're not ready, remember that readiness is not a feeling, it's a decision. You decide to trust. You decide to act. You decide to believe that the divine would not place a dream in your heart without also placing the power to realize it in your hands. Yes, there will be moments when you falter, moments when your knees buckle under the pressure, moments when it all feels too big. But in those moments, return to breath, return to being, return to the eternal truth. You are not doing this alone. You are being carried. You are being breathed. You are being guided by something that never doubts your worth, your place, your timing. So align with that, speak from that, live from that, and let the doubt dissolve in the radiance of your faith. Let it pass like morning fog under the noonday sun. Let it go like a wave that has served its purpose, and rise again and again as the soul who remembers, because memory is the path, not memory of the mind, but of the spirit. The memory that says, I am more than this fear, I am more than this moment, I am the light behind the cloud, I am the stillness beneath the roar, I am the breath of God in motion. And when you remember that, when you truly remember, you become unstoppable. Not because you never fall, but because you know how to rise. Not because the path is easy, but because you no longer need it to be. Not because you never doubt, but because you know doubt is only a signal, not a truth. You were not sent here to convince the world of your worth. You were sent to embody it, to walk through life with the quiet knowing that you are a thread in the infinite tapestry of existence. You belong, not because you earned it, but because you are, and that is enough. Doubt tries to steal that knowing. It tries to bargain with your worth, to attach it to outcomes and applause and proof. But worth that must be proven is not true. Worth it is performance. And your soul came to be, not perform. Your being is the blessing. Your presence is the gift. And when you return to that truth, your doubt loses its grip. Because what is there to doubt when you are already complete? You are not incomplete. You are in progress. You are not broken. You are becoming. You are not behind. You are exactly on time. And even your detours are part of the design. Even your confusion is sacred. Even your delay is divine. Nothing is wasted when you walk with awareness. Everything belongs when you walk with love. This is not about perfection. This is not about doing it right. This is about being real, about being whole, about saying yes to your spirit, even when your mind protests, about standing up again and again, even if the world has not yet clapped, because the applause that matters comes from within. It comes from alignment. It comes from peace. It comes from that still voice inside that whispers, yes, this is the way. Your life is not an accident. Your dreams are not delusion. Your voice is not irrelevant. And your doubts are not destiny. They are only signal echoes passing storms. Do not anchor yourself in them. Anchor yourself in love, in truth, in the deep ocean of spirit that never changes, no matter how loud the winds howl. Have you forgotten how powerful you are? Look at how many doubts you've already survived. Look at how many fears you've already walked through. Look at the moments when you were certain it was over, and yet here you are, still breathing, still standing, still becoming. That is not weakness. That is power. That is resilience. That is the presence of something eternal within you. And if it's been with you this far, do you not trust it to carry you further? The oak tree does not ask for proof of its roots before it grows. The river does not doubt its right to flow. The dawn does not hesitate to break through darkness. And you, child of the infinite why, would you doubt your light? Why would you wait for the world's permission to shine? Why would you hold back the medicine in your voice, the truth, in your step, the power in your presence. The world is aching for the very thing you are withholding. Your clarity, your courage, your conviction, and you don't need to wait until you feel ready to give it. Readiness is not a prerequisite for transformation. Willingness is. You are not here to rehearse life. You are here to live it, to leap before you feel fully prepared, to speak even when your voice is rough, to write the book while your hands still shake, to love before the fear is gone, to believe before you see the result, because belief is not the product of evidence, it is the soil that grows it. And you were born to believe, not in fantasy, but in the deeper reality that your mind has forgotten and your soul has never lost. You are the breath of God made flesh. You are the pause between stars. You are the living proof that the infinite wants to experience life in human form. And when you move in alignment with that, doubt may knock, but it cannot enter. Fear may speak, but it cannot command. The noise may rise, but it cannot drown your knowing, because truth lives deeper, and your life, when lived from that depth, becomes a lighthouse for others lost in their own storms. You may never know how many are saved by your light. You may never see the waves you calm with your presence. But you must trust that the light you carry has purpose far beyond your eyes. So do not let doubt silence it. Do not let fear smother it. Do not let delay distract it. Fan the flame. Speak the word. Walk the path. Even if no one claps. Even if no one sees. Even if your hands shake and your knees tremble. Because your soul sees. Because your soul knows. And in the end, that is the only knowing that matters. That is the only truth that will remain when the noise has passed. That you were here, that you lived, that you remembered, that you became what you already were, that you let the signal of doubt guide you back to the fire of truth, that you honored the divine not by avoiding fear, but by walking through it with your eyes wide open, your heart even wider, and your spirit untouched. And when the day comes that your journey is complete, you will look back and smile, not because you had no doubt, but because you never let it decide who you would be. You chose love. You chose truth. You chose the breath beneath the fear. And that, my beloved soul, is the only victory that matters. That you remembered. Doubt is only a signal, never a truth. There is a silent song humming through the cosmos, a vibration so pure, so ancient, that it existed long before the first breath of time. And this song, this eternal current, is what responds to the frequency you emit. You are not separate from it. You are not apart from the universe. You are of it. You are made of it. Your essence is energy. And that energy carries a frequency, one that speaks, even when your mouth is closed, even when your thoughts are chaotic, even when your heart is breaking. And the universe listens not to your words, but to your vibration. You may have been taught that the world is happening to you, but the deeper truth, the one whispered to the soul when it is still, is that life is happening through you. It mirrors you, reflects you, echoes back to you, not your circumstances, but your consciousness. Not your struggle, but your state. You are not a powerless observer floating in a chaotic sea. You are a powerful creator immersed in a field that responds to what you are being. And what you are being is everything. Not what you're doing, not what you're hoping, but what you are. There is a field of energy around you that is constantly broadcasting a signal. That signal is your dominant emotion. It is your core belief. It is the story you keep silently telling yourself. And the universe, in all its infinite wisdom and non-judgmental compassion, simply aligns with it. It doesn't judge your frequency. It doesn't decide whether you're worthy or not. It simply responds. If you are living in fear, it will meet you with more reasons to be afraid.
If you are living in love, it will offer you more to love. If you are rooted in scarcity, life will echo back lack. If you are grounded in gratitude, life will mirror abundance. This is not punishment or reward. This is resonance. The universe is not a parent with favorites, nor is it a system of reward points for good behavior. It is vibration, and vibration cannot be tricked. You cannot fake alignment. You cannot affirm over a wound that hasn't been healed. You cannot chant joy from a soul that has not yet made peace. Because the universe doesn't hear your words. It feels your signal. So the real journey, the sacred work, is not in begging the universe for better, but in becoming better aligned with who you truly are beneath the noise. And who you truly are is light, is love, is divine presence in a temporary form. You don't need to get anything from life. You only need to become what life responds to. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. Let us stop for a moment and ask the real question. What signal am I sending out into the field right now? Is it the frequency of resentment, of comparison, of fear, self-doubt, and trying to be enough? Or is it the quiet, anchored presence of someone who remembers even for a moment that they are not this mind, this emotion, this body, this history, but the one witnessing it all? Because that shift from identification with the ego to identification with the soul is the shift that changes everything. You see, the ego wants to manipulate the universe. It says, if I do this, then I should get that. It bargains, it pleads, it performs, it pretends, but the soul does not bargain. The soul remembers. The soul radiates. The soul does not need to force life into shape. It simply returns to its true frequency, and life takes form around it. This is the art of surrender. Not giving up, but tuning in. Not efforting, but aligning. Not striving, but allowing. The rose does not open by force. It opens by being in harmony with the season. So must you. There is nothing more magnetic than a being who has returned to their natural frequency. They do not beg, they do not chase, they do not prove. They simply become the embodiment of what they once thought they needed to seek. And then life bends around them effortlessly, like gravity answering its source. The universe responds not to your need, but to your being. Not to your pain, but to your peace. Not to your desire, but to your wholeness. And you are already whole. But somewhere along the way, you believed otherwise. Somewhere, you inherited the idea that you must strive, must hustle, must become more as though the infinite could be measured in worth. And in doing so, you moved from presence to pretense, from frequency to friction, from flow to force. But your soul remembers the truth. It remembers what it feels like to rest in the now, to be in the moment without agenda, to breathe without resistance, to love without condition, to trust without knowing. And when you return to this place, not in theory, but in being, everything changes. Because the universe cannot help but meet you where you are. And where you are vibrationally is always creating what comes next. Let this not frighten you, let it free you. Because it means you are not at the mercy of fate or karma or broken history. You are not the victim of some random algorithm in the sky. You are the author of resonance, the chooser of frequency, the mirror to which all things are drawn. So if you want more love, be the love that no longer waits. If you want more abundance, embody the gratitude that already sees it everywhere. If you want peace, be still and know you are not the storm. You are the sky it moves through. When your frequency rises, your life cannot stay the same. Not because you manipulated the external, but because you transfigured the internal. You alchemized your energy. You didn't chase, you tuned. You didn't fight, you surrendered. You didn't shout, you harmonized. And so the entire orchestra of your existence changed keys. You are not meant to push the river. You are meant to remember that you are the river. You are the stream that flows through valleys of experience, over stones of challenge, under bridges of doubt, and still you move forward, naturally, guided not by force, but by the silent pull of your own divine current. When you resist what is, you create dissonance in your frequency. But when you accept what is, you become powerful in your flow. And the universe ever so gently reorients to meet you there in the field of surrender where miracles bloom. Your frequency is your signature. It is not what you say about yourself. It is not the mask you wear or the image you curate. It is the hum beneath your silence. It is the truth that pulses underneath every smile, every thought, every breath. And the universe reads this with perfect accuracy, not to judge, but to align. You are not being punished by your life. You are being tuned by it. Every difficult moment, every closed door, every loss is not a cosmic insult. It is a compassionate response to what no longer matches the higher signal you were born to become. When you learn to listen inward instead of outward, you begin to hear the whispers of frequency before they become the shouts of fate. The soul always speaks before the suffering begins, but most of us wait. We wait for pain to teach us what presence could have shown us in stillness. We wait until our bodies break down before we rest. We wait until we're alone to understand the need for self-love. We wait until we're depleted to realize we were chasing from a frequency of emptiness. But the universe never rushes you. It waits too patiently, lovingly for you to come back to your vibration. And what is your vibration, truly, when all the noise is cleared? It is peace. Not the kind found in a quiet room, but the kind that radiates from a quiet heart. It is joy. Not the temporary high, but the steady flame that burns even in the rain. It is love. Not the transaction of affection, but the unconditional remembrance that you are what you seek. There are no shortcuts to frequency. You cannot meditate your way into joy while secretly resenting the world. You cannot visualize abundance while clinging to fear. The inner world is precise. It does not lie. And that is its beauty. That is its power. Because it means your transformation is not dependent on the external. You can shift your frequency in this moment, not tomorrow, not next year, now. Take a breath. Deep, unforced, honest, and feel for just this breath what it means to be enough without becoming more, to be worthy without proof, to be loved without condition. Now feel what rises. If it's resistance, that's okay. Let it speak. Let it move. For nothing lowers your frequency like the repression of truth, and nothing raises it like the courageous return to self. You do not need to earn your way into alignment. You simply need to remove what no longer belongs. Let go of the guilt that was never yours. Release the shame that came from someone else's pain. Lay down the identity that was built to survive, not to thrive. You are not your mask. You are not your wounds. You are not your past. You are the presence beneath all of it. And presence is the highest frequency of all. When you walk into a room as presence, you don't have to say a word. People feel it. Children sense it. Animals are drawn to it. Nature responds to it. Because you are no longer emitting the static of separation, you are radiating the coherence of truth. You are no longer pretending, you are being. And in being, you become magnetic to everything that matches that vibration. Have you ever wondered why things fall apart when you finally choose yourself? Why relationships shift when you return to inner peace? Why doors close when you start walking in alignment with your soul? It's not because you're being punished, it's because your frequency changed, and what once resonated no longer fits. The old must fall away, not as loss, but as proof of rebirth. Let it go. Let them go. Let what no longer vibrates with your truth be released, not with anger, but with gratitude for showing you what you are not. You don't need to understand everything. You only need to trust that your energy is a compass, and when it is clear, it will guide you not to comfort, but to truth, not to ease, but to expansion. And expansion often requires the shedding of skins, the unraveling of illusions, the death of who you thought you were. But this is not a tragedy. This is grace in motion. This is the universe saying, you are becoming more you than you have ever been. And so the question becomes, what frequency are you willing to live in now? Because the universe isn't waiting for your perfection. It's responding to your intention. It's not judging your flaws. It's aligning with your vibration. It's not testing your worth. It's reflecting your belief. Every thought you hold, every emotion you feed, every story you rehearse is an energetic instruction to life, not in punishment, in partnership. The field is intelligent, it is alive, and it is listening. When you speak I am, the universe completes the sentence. I am broken, and it echoes back pain. I am healing, and it brings the teachers. I am whole, and it aligns the world to mirror it. So what are you claiming with your energy today? Not what are you saying, what are you being? If your mind is anxious, but your heart is present, listen to the heart. If your ego is screaming, but your soul is whispering, follow the whisper. For it is in the stillness beneath the noise where your true frequency resides, waiting for you to come home. Come home to the knowing that nothing outside of you is more powerful than what is within you. Come home to the silence that is not empty, but full of knowing, full of clarity, full of God. The mind will say you need to fix your life, rearrange your circumstances, hustle harder, prove something. But the soul knows you do not need to chase alignment. You need only to return to the place where you stop being honest with yourself. And in that return, your frequency begins to rise. It rises not through effort, but through authenticity. It rises not through performance, but through presence. It rises when you stop trying to be what you think the world wants and start being what your spirit already is. You've been taught to chase vibration with achievement, but the truth is, you raise your vibration by releasing. Not by adding more, but by subtracting what no longer serves. Let go of the beliefs that bind you. Let go of the story that says you are small, unworthy, alone. That story was a survival strategy, not a reflection of your divinity. And the universe has never responded to your wounds. It has only responded to the energy those wounds created. So, if you are ready for life to meet you differently, meet yourself differently first. Speak to yourself with reverence. Think of yourself as divine. Treat your thoughts as seeds, for what you plant in the soil of your mind becomes the forest of your experience. Energy cannot lie. What you believe deep down becomes the blueprint of what the universe returns to you. And belief is not a sentence, it is a frequency. You can say, I am worthy 1,000 times. But if your energy says, I am still seeking proof, the field will respond to the seeking, not the words. So the real work, the sacred path, is to live as if your worth is not in question. Not to pretend, but to remember, to strip away every layer that ever told you otherwise, the beliefs that came from others, the shame that was inherited, the doubt that was absorbed from a world that forgot its own light. These are not yours. They were never yours. You were not here to carry them, you were here to transmute them. You are here to alchemize fear into presence, guilt into grace, and confusion into clarity. And the moment you choose to stand in your truth, the entire frequency of your life shifts. You've seen it. You've felt it. Those moments when you finally let go and suddenly things align. The phone call comes, the door opens, the path clears. Why? Because you didn't force life. You stopped resisting yourself. You let go of what kept you small. And in doing so, you matched the field of miracles that has been waiting for you all along. Miracles are not exceptions. They are reflections of alignment. You don't need to perform to be worthy of one. You need only to become the frequency of one. Become the vibration of love, and love will meet you in forms you never imagined. Become the vibration of peace, and chaos will no longer find a home in you. Become the vibration of wholeness, and nothing outside of you will have the power to break you again. This is not spiritual poetry. This is energetic law. The universe operates on resonance, and you, beloved, are a tuning fork of creation. If you are surrounded by noise, confusion, or lack, look not at the world, but within. Where's the noise in you? What story are you still playing on repeat? What belief are you still breathing life into that no longer aligns with your divine nature? Dare to pause. Dare to go inward. The world will pull you 1,000 different ways, but the soul only pulls one way, home. And home is not a place. Home is a frequency. It's the frequency of God within you. The still, unwavering hum of the infinite that has always been there beneath your pain, beneath your past, beneath your striving. You do not need to build your worth. You need only to uncover it. Strip away the noise. Let go of what isn't true. And feel, even now, what begins to awaken. This is the return. This is the healing. This is the frequency that shifts everything. You don't need the world to change for you to feel different. You need to feel different, and then the world begins to change. This is not a bypassing of reality. It is the deeper reality. For you are not just flesh and bone. You are vibration. You are light in motion, and the universe responds to that. The external is just the echo. The internal is the origin. So tend to your energy with care. Speak to your thoughts like you would a sacred child. Forgive your past with the softness of someone who has remembered the truth. Your energy is your power. Protect it, honor it, align it, and you will begin to experience a life that matches not your history, but your healing. You are not here to repeat cycles. You are here to transmute them. You are not here to beg life for blessings. You are here to radiate so brightly that blessings become inevitable. This is not arrogance. This is remembrance. Remember who you are. Remember what you are. Not the labels, not the name, not the roles or the wounds or the masks, but the presence behind all of it, the field of light that watches without judgment, the stillness that listens beneath the noise. That is you. And when you live from that place, you begin to emit a frequency so pure that the universe cannot help but respond in kind. It must, because you are it, and it is you. You are not meant to control the universe. You are meant to collaborate with it, but collaboration begins with clarity. Not clarity of outcomes, but clarity of energy. The most important question you can ask yourself is not, what should I do, but what am I radiating right now? Because your frequency does not lie. And life in its unending compassion will keep showing you what lives beneath the surface of your own awareness, not to shame you, but to free you. Every relationship that triggers you, every delay that frustrates you, every closed door that confuses you, these are not punishments, they are invitations. Opportunities to pause and ask, what am I being asked to release so that I can rise into a higher alignment? You see, the old self, the wounded self, the story-built self wants resolution through control. It wants to fix, force, and figure it all out. But the true self, the soul, wants resolution through resonance. It knows that the healing of your outer world begins with the coherence of your inner one. So you must begin to see everything not as happening to you, but as arising from you. Not in blame, never in blame, but in sacred responsibility. This is the frequency of a conscious creator. Not one who escapes life, but one who co-creates it with divine awareness. Because the more you attune to your true vibration, the more you become unshakable by what happens around you. Storms may come, but you no longer become them. Loss may arrive, but you no longer identify with lack. Uncertainty may rise, but you no longer abandon yourself to fear. This is frequency mastery. And it does not come from escaping the world. It comes from returning so deeply to the truth of who you are that the world can no longer distort your signal. You become the still point, the unmoved mover, the eye in the center of the storm. And in that stillness, the universe listens. It listens not because you are louder. It listens because you are clearer. It listens because you have dropped the noise, the need, the narrative, and you are simply being what you were always meant to be, a conscious emanation of love. This, beloved, is your natural state. Love is not something you earn. It is what you are when the noise is gone. And when you radiate from that place, the place of nothing to prove, nothing to chase, nothing to fear, the universe opens in ways you could never orchestrate from the mind. Doors swing wide. People arrive like divine appointments. Healing rushes in without effort. And peace becomes your resting place, not a fleeting destination. This is not a fantasy. This is the real world as seen through the frequency of soul. Let go of the belief that the world must change first, that people must apologize, that conditions must improve, that your body, your bank account, your relationships must reach some imagined perfection before you feel whole. No, the secret is this. When you feel whole first, the world begins to rearrange itself around your new vibration. Because frequency is creative. It generates experience. It doesn't wait, it initiates. So take the pressure off trying to get everything right. You don't need to perfect your outer life. You need only to become congruent in your inner world, to live in harmony with what you truly believe, to think thoughts that feel like peace, to feel emotions that echo your truth, to embody the energy of what you wish to experience, and then watch life respond, not in days, in moments, because alignment is not about time, it's about presence. Time is only needed when you're still fighting the frequency of what is. But presence collapses time. It opens portals. It reveals pathways that the mind cannot see. So breathe. Sink into your body, into your now, into this one sacred breath. You are here. And here is the only place miracles can happen. There comes a point on the spiritual path where effort becomes surrender and seeking becomes seeing. You begin to realize that you do not need to chase answers. You need only to become quiet enough to hear them. They are already within you. The wisdom, the peace, the clarity, it's not outside, waiting in some future version of your life. It is here, in this breath, in this now. And the only thing keeping you from it is the noise of resistance. Let it go. Let go of the timelines that pressure you. Let go of the expectations that confine you. Let go of the need to be more than what you already are. You are not here to prove your divinity. You are here to embody it. To walk into a room with a soft presence that shifts the air not by force but by frequency. To move through this world with a quiet knowing that says, I am not my story, I am not my fear, I am not my past, I am presence, I am love, I am light. You don't have to shout that truth. You don't even have to say it. You simply have to be it. And being it means trusting that the frequency you carry is the frequency that leads. When you walk as wholeness, life mirrors wholeness. When you rest in gratitude, the universe opens new pathways. When you drop into stillness, clarity emerges without effort. You begin to see life not as something to control, but something to collaborate with. You begin to sense that everything is unfolding exactly as it should, not always in the way the mind wants, but in the way the soul needs. And in that surrender, your frequency stabilizes. It no longer jumps with circumstance. It no longer reacts to every trigger. It no longer depends on validation or control or certainty. It becomes steady, grounded, unshakable. And from that space, miracles flow. Not because you forced them, but because you became them. Because miracles are not events, they are frequencies. And you, beloved, are the tuning fork. You are the transmitter. You are the divine channel through which life expresses itself in form. So live like it, think like it, love like it, speak like it, walk like it, breathe like it. The universe is not waiting to bless you. It is waiting to recognize itself in you, to feel the signal of presence radiating from your being, to align with your soul's signature, not your ego's plan. You don't need more effort. You need more presence, more peace, more inner clarity, more moments of silence where you remember, I am already what I seek. This is the ultimate shift. From becoming to being, from doing to radiating, from striving to surrender. And in that surrender, life unfolds with grace. You'll find yourself in the right place at the right time, not because you manipulated the map, but because you matched the vibration of alignment. You'll be met by the right people, not because you chased them, but because you became a match for the energy they carried. You'll manifest beauty, not as a trick of manifestation techniques, but as a natural extension of the frequency of wholeness within you. Because energy doesn't lie. And you, when you remember your light, are the most powerful force in creation. Not powerful in the way of the world. Powerful in the way of peace, in the way of presence, in the way of God. So, slow down. The world may rush, but your soul never does. Presence has no urgency. Truth has no timeline. And love has no conditions. And when you live like that, when you live as if your soul is the leader, the universe has no choice but to respond in harmony. It must, because it is you. You are not separate. You are the wave and the ocean. You are the light and the source of light. You are the breath and the one who breathes. You are the prayer and the answer. The vibration you hold is your real power, not your resume, not your story, not your plans, your frequency. And when you choose peace, you tune your life to a higher octave of existence, one that doesn't need proof, only presence, one that doesn't chase, only flows, one that doesn't resist, only trusts. Let this be your new way of being. Not something you do once, but something you return to again and again and again until it becomes your resting place, your home, your essence. Let the world do what it does. You hold your frequency. Let others misunderstand. You keep loving anyway. Let the path twist. You stay present anyway. Let time pass. You remain timeless in your trust. Because the universe responds not to your pressure, but to your peace. Not to your control, but to your coherence. Not to your fear, but to your faith. And when you radiate from that place, steady, anchored, aligned life becomes a mirror of your liberation, a mirror of your healing, a mirror of your true self, awakened, whole, divine. This is the frequency of God. And you, dear soul, are its echo in form. So be still. And know, you are not waiting for the universe to change. The universe is waiting for you to remember who you already are. And it will respond, not because you begged, but because you finally believed. Because the moment you return to your true vibration, the entire cosmos rises to meet you there. In truth, in light, in love, in presence, always and forever.